Good morning, my lovelies. Let's teach you today how to have some preventative wellness. But it is cold and flu season. This year, influenza is spreading like a brush fire, and it's something that you may be able to prevent it, you may not. But I'm going to go over some things in everyday life, everyday world, not the medical world, that can be done to at least reduce your risk for exposure. The very first thing that I want to hit on is, of course, staying away from people who are sick. If you have to be around them, get a surgical mask. You can buy surgical masks. And I'm not talking about the big N95s that they were having everybody wear during COVID. I'm talking simple and straightforward. Just buy the little ear loop mask. I had one in my car, but I always throw them out. The ear loop masks that are just, surgical. Even if you just wear this mask around whoever it is that you're coming in contact with who may or may not be ill. I'm not telling you to mask up and wear them out everywhere all the time. It does provide some degree of protection. The other thing that you can do is that you can keep a distance. However, this is a droplet infection. When someone coughs, I don't know if you know, but the velocity that the air comes out of their mouth can literally project the bacteria and cross an entire room. So that's why I say mask. At least you have something to catch that, right? If they cough or sneeze. The next thing that I want you to do is wipe down all high-touch surfaces. And what I mean by high-touch surfaces is light switches, door handles, and I mean all of your door handles in your house, right? Sinks, countertops, tables. And I want you to wipe them down with a good, antibacterial, antimicrobial cleanser. Now, my daughter, and rightfully so, is always like, well, can I put this on our eating surface? So if you're worried about whether or not you can use a cleanser on surfaces where you eat or prepare food, just use some good, really hot soapy water. And I'm not talking burn yourself, that's ridiculous. And then scrub more than you likely would with a lot of friction, and then dry it off. With the antibacterial or antimicrobial cleanser, I want you to let it air dry. Once you've just swiped the surfaces, let it air dry so that cleanser, whatever the antibacterial property in it is, can continue to kill while it's drying. Now, one of the things that is debatable, isn't debatable, whatever, is they say all cleansers have some degree of antibacterial or antimicrobial action. And the reason for this is friction. You put it in the water and whatever, and then to some degree it can kill. Now, some people like vinegar. Vinegar is really good if it's a bacteria that doesn't like an acidic environment. So, you have to take all these things into consideration. It's like people, right? Some hot climates, some of us like it in cold climates. Some of us are never comfortable anywhere. You're trying to find the extreme measure that's going to get rid of this bacteria. But keeping things wiped down, and even if your house is really clean and you're really a tidy person, it never hurts to wipe down your high-touch surfaces. Never. Because every time you go out of your house and come back in, you have come in contact with something. Your house could be completely, whatever, germ-free zone, which doesn't exist, but close, right? You could be that tidy. However, that doesn't mean that you haven't touched something that someone else who's sick or not great at the hand hygiene hasn't touched. quality vitamin C. Helps your body fight off whatever it is that may not belong there. I don't care if you buy oranges, grapefruit, can actually get vitamin C from broccoli. Like, just do a quick search and find something that you like. When I'm increasing vitamin C, I never get orange juice. I never drink orange juice. Plus, watch out, orange juice is really high in sugar. But what I did do is I did a Google search. Do a quick search, or start reading your labels for daily value of vitamin C, or get a supplement. You can get a supplement and take it. Okay, I never recommend gummy supplements to anybody for a couple of reasons. One, I had a house full of kids, so I never wanted anything in my house to look like candy. That's why even children's chewable vitamins, I tell people to be very, very careful and lock them up. The other reason that I don't like gummies is, again, added sugar. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, this is a third reason, but this is totally like me and my weird brainness. I don't like candy that sticks in your teeth. When I was in my 20s, I got hit by a car, and I was riding a bike, and I flew off the bike, and you can see I have a scar there, right? I flew over the handlebars and hit my face on the cement. So it fractured all of my teeth. And every little thing causes me discomfort with my teeth, which is why I haven't fixed the couple that are broken, because I remember that pain so intensely. And when it broke the teeth, it also fractured the gum to the point that I have bone loss in 2 places where I've lost the teeth. So I don't like anything that's like chewy like that, right? I don't like it. But that's just me, and that would be why I wouldn't buy gummies. But I do not recommend them, because they generally will have a high level of sugar in them, and a lot of them are even sugar coated. And then the other thing is, if you have children in your house, visiting your house. On to my next point. Okay, on the supplement train, vitamin D is also a very good supplement. Some people say zinc, so I can't supplement zinc through a supplement. But again, I would recommend, find out what you can do from a dietary standpoint. I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to change my diet, I don't want to be doing whatever. I'm talking about picking up 1 or 2 things from the grocery store. Maybe mix it up throughout the, November, December through April. Just be mindful of what you're taking in and try to increase the intake of some of these things. Protein intake, actually. So get better protein, or, increase your protein to carb ratio a little bit. Immune cells are made of protein. So you want to make sure that your body is optimized to make sure you have strong, healthy immune cells. Sleep is non-negotiable. You have to get enough sleep. And I know that's difficult. I don't sleep well at all. So I understand the traction that particular recommendation can cause, but you have to get good sleep during any time of year where you're going to be more susceptible to getting sick. Now, the next one is air quality. Ventilate your house. Open a window a crack. I'm not talking about freeze your whole house out. You could. Bundle up, open windows for 10 minutes, and then close them all, whatever. But I also know that people are trying to pay heating bills this time of year, and I don't know about you. I can barely afford my life as it is, so I don't want to be racking up my heating bill. What I have done is turned off my furnace, opened windows, aired out my house, closed them back up, and then just kept my coat on for a short little bit, and then turned my heat back on. And then humidity in the air. When your air is dry, and a lot of people, I'll get bloody noses if the air is too dry. I don't do humidity though, because it can also increase the chance for mold growth. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But what I will do sometimes is I'll take saline on a Q-tip, and I'll make sure that the tissues in my nose stay moist. Some people also start using that sea spray in the winter time to keep from getting a dry nose. So when your nasal passages are dry, it's actually easier for viruses to enter that nasal passage. It's one of those things where, we get little micro cracks. Even in our skin, people talk about cellulitis. Well, there were no sores. On a micro level, you don't know what the tiniest little, even dry skin can just look dry and be cracked. So you don't know where microbes are able to get in, because of course they're, some of them are so small you have to turn a microscope up to almost its fullest capacity. So that's one of the things that I highly recommend, is keeping your airways and your nasal passages from getting too dry. All of these things can be done independently or in combination. You can pick and choose. We're all grown-ups. We feel free to do the things that you feel are correct and necessary, and then you can make the choices for yourself. I just wanted to give you some tips. Working in healthcare, we see so many things that are sometimes completely preventable, sometimes not, right? So sometimes you're just going to get sick, and that is what it is. If you have little kids, I hate to say this, but the likelihood of you getting sick is exponentially higher. And the reason for that, of course, is they go to school, they go to daycares, they go see their friends, they go around the neighborhood, they touch everything, they put everything in their mouth. They do, even the best behaved kids are at a higher exposure than adults, or than households that don't have kids. I hope this helps you guys, because I know so many people are getting sick, and I just want you to know that there are things that you can do preventatively, and even some of these things aren't going to cost you a penny. There are things that you can do. Wipe down those surfaces. I wanted to get this out there because I think that it's really important. Things are, like I said, spreading like a brush fire, and I don't want to see my peeps get sick. So this is one of those times where I say you can like and subscribe, but this 100% was just meant to be from a place of caring, and none of these recommendations that I made today are to be fear-based. But they are about respect for your body, keeping yourself well. We all do our best when we are well. And, some people already have things going on with their health that you don't want to pile on. So I hope you guys stay well, be well, and I will see you later.